Games Workshop have been caught red-handed, with their hand firmly in the cookie jar, which has made the hand red. They've been caught 3D printing again. Games Workshop revealed the new Chaos Kill Team, but not a wound update for the poor bastards, but also tipped their hand for 3D printing prototypes yet again. And people think this is a glorious self-own of a KEKW proportion. And yes, I do also regret saying that sentence out loud. This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, so if you're looking to pick up any hobby supplies, whether that be the latest Kill Team or Magic singles and sealed product, check out the link in the description below, use the code KENOBI at checkout, get 5% off your order, and support the channel. Let's take a step back for a second and clarify some of what I am talking about here. Less enfranchised and newbie hobbyists, don't worry, I will fill you in. Games Workshop sell injection molded products and sprues like this that use a type of plastic that is easily worked with and constructed using plastic glue that creates chemical bonds. It has been doing that for the best part of 30 years and continues to do so. 3D printing, whether that be top-down filament or bottom-up like cured resin, is where you use a machine to use STL or CAD files or similar things to produce a 3D model through a chemical production within a machine. It is a hobby in and of itself and is seen popularly by those in the wargaming hobby to be a great addition to the space and a potential long-term existential threat for Games Workshop. Primarily because Games Workshop's models are very fucking expensive, even of a good quality, and 3D printing can make it a lot cheaper to build an army. Filament printing is better for terrain and larger objects as it has a much less detail available to it. To print on a truly miniature scale is not great with filament, and there are plenty of B-roll assets available to me via the B-roll sites that I use. Resin is the less known but more popular within the miniature space, where you use a liquid resin that is cured by light and you just flash 2D images of the model. I'm not going to do huge detail here, but 2D images of the model over and over and over, and you build it up layer by layer by layer until you have a fully grown model that then needs to be cured, and voila, you have a model that I don't have any B-roll for, because A, I haven't filmed my 3D printers, and B, there's literally 100 assets of filament printing on story blocks and stuff, and there's nothing about resin printing. How fucking weird is that? I am a 3D printing advocate, to be clear. I have 2 of these things. One of these was sent to me by Ellie Goo for free to review and talk about in a video that I simply haven't gotten around to making yet, because A, I'm lazy, and B, there's been a lot of things to talk about in other videos. 3D printing is great, if a little bit unwieldy at times. It's a great resource in your arsenal. It allows you to 3D print bits or entire models, although working with it can be a problem. The resins are incredibly toxic. They can't be disposed of easily, and if you're not using water washable resin like I do, you're also using like isopropyl alcohol or whatever. I think it's isopropyl alcohol, some form of alcohol to clean the resin before you have to then cure it with a light box or UV light. There are many steps to it. It's time consuming, from sourcing files to getting your settings dialed in to producing the models. It's a hobby in and of itself. It's a great way to increase your pile of shame. For example, here I have a beautifully detailed, incredible justification just how good 3D printing can be. This is going to be a keeper of secrets or something in like sort of a mech variant. And here we have also an unfinished Demon Prince, a giant scarab for my 1,000 Suns. And then, like I showed you in this video here, I've got some bits like backpacks for my Storm Boys. Naturally, Games Workshop are opposed to 3D printing because it's a viable alternative to what they supply as a product. And they want to continue to charge you more than they probably should for their product too, so cheaper alternatives are not great for them. This is demonstrably true as we see them changing their policies recently, or at least clarifying them, should I say, in recent times to disallow any form of 3D printed models at their stores or Warhammer World events. This was, like everything else in this sphere of the internet, met with a lot of shock and horror and oh my god, Warhammer bans 3D models! I've done a whole video detailing the reaction and my reaction to it, which I'll link to in the description below in the cards, but long story short, this is only for Games Workshop stores in Warhammer World, where if you go to any tournament, and I've been to a few at this point, there'll be people with nearly fully 3D printed armies, from demons to tanks to monsters, people with 3D printed backpacks and shoulder packs and bits and just crazy conversions using 3D printing. No one gives a fuck. It makes sense that Games Workshop being the only one that do give a fuck, because they don't want you using third-party models in general. They won't let you use a Counts as model from War Machine, for example, and they also don't want you like pirating their intellectual property either. So the idea that they won't allow that at their own stores is completely understandable to anyone with more than fucking a handful of brain cells. So if that is the case, why are Games Workshop using 3D printing in their PR and marketing marketing and box art images. Well, 3D printing is a pretty good way of prototyping anything you are making through computer-aided design, and allows you to quickly iterate and reiterate on designs as well. Add to that if they are working on a tight schedule, sending early versions of models, including those 3D printed, to the heavy metal painting studios ahead of getting PR images together. It makes for a lean, efficient, and quick turnaround from like model designed to model being hyped pipeline. In theory, if the model is finished to the point that they're going to show it off in a Warhammer community article or put it on the box art, they could wait until they have the injection molded, typical sprue-based plastic designs to give to their heavy metal teams. But what you've got to remember is the production lines that make those molds, the big machines that clamp and do the molding, those things have to go to production as well. And now you're slowing down the whole process by not being able to give the things that need to be painted to the heavy metal team until after you produce the molds. This stuff isn't just for PR and marketing stuff either. Like I said, this is going to be in the box art, it's going to be in the books. So stuff has to be produced ahead of time too, so that stuff can go to print. So it makes sense that they use the early prototype stuff, the things that have the visible, the resin casting lines from being 3D printed in an LCD screen printer for this stuff. It's not that weird, it makes sense. So yes, it is rather ironic, I guess, and a little bit funny that they outlaw 3D printing at their game stores in Warhammer World, and that means that these preview models that may even sit in some of the cabinets at Warhammer World would be technically, or I say technically, literally illegal to be played at an event at one of their stores. But that's it. That's where the irony and the humour kind of ends. Other than that, it just makes a lot of sense for their production schedule. And I sound like a Games Workshop apologist. I just want to highlight that sometimes it's good to criticize companies on the things that matter and we would like to change. Like their ever-increasing, ramping up cost of models, not whether or not they prototype using 3D printing. Beyond all that, I did laugh when I was reading like some background articles that I've mentioned this stuff in the past, because this has come up multiple times before. I was reading an old Spiky Bits article that suggested that this proved there might be files that they could sell directly to customers to print themselves in the future. This might be one of the most obvious observations I've ever fucking seen. If you think about it, of course there's files. They use computer-aided design now. This is not 1992, it's not 1989. They're not hand sculpting this shit. It's not a mystery or a secret. They're not pretending that they don't use computer-aided design for this. So if you're using computers to sculpt and design your product, there's gonna be files available. That's how computers work. Oh, Spiky Bits, you rascals. I've also seen people saying that this is a GW unknowingly endorsing the quality of contemporary 3D prints. As someone who is 3D printing right now and is through the honeymoon phase of that hobby, as it were, I can tell you that the quality of 3D prints is a lot higher than I ever thought it would be getting my first one. I thought it would be a novelty, but it turns out you can print stuff that, at a glance, looks as good as anything else. But under heavy scrutiny, under a macro lens, or in the fucking articles and the images they're putting out now, you can see it. That's why we can see it. It's not the human eye from 3 feet away. It is a zoomed-in shot of a chain axe. But beyond that, the plastics that Games Workshop make, even if they overcharge for them, and that's a big debate to be had, and I on the side that it is expensive and too expensive, the plastic is of such a good quality, the models of such a good quality, and the plastic itself is so good to work with. This is malleable plastic that you can use plastic glue on that creates a chemical bond. It essentially melts both sides of the plastic and they join together. That is a lot more workable and easy to work with, should I say, than 2 blocks of toxic resin being put together with superglue that doesn't fucking dry unless you have a third arm to spray it with an accelerant. Superglue is also brittle, so those things break when dropped, where if you have plastic glued 2 Games Workshop plastics together, they ain't gonna break very easy, unless you're talking about the little spiky bits. But those bits aren't even like glued on, right? An arm to a body will probably last you a very long time. 3D printing is fantastic and it is freeing, it is liberating. It allows you to do virtually anything if you have the ability to also 3D design your own stuff. 3D printing is fantastic, but it has caveats. It is a difficult thing to work with. It takes time, energy, and effort, and you're dealing with fucking toxic chemicals in your home. There are upsides and there are downsides. I don't think Games Workshop, a fucking corporation, using 3D printing to prototype their product they're selling to customers that uses computer-aided design in the first place, I don't think them using it is some admission that it's better than what they're actually doing. Also, on an economy of scale, once they get the machines up and running to mold print stuff, it's going to be so much cheaper, and like I said at the end, a better product to deal with for the consumer, a better end consumer result than 3D printing ever would. But don't think it's an altruistic thing from Games Workshop. If 3D printing was cheaper than the mold processing that they do, they'll be doing the 3D printing option. This is not about end consumer, right? This is about how cheap things are to mass produce. So in short, the Warhammer community loves a bit of drama, and fans of Warhammer love to bitch and moan that Games Workshop are evil and everything they do is highly incompetent and highly evil. Look, they do overcharge for their stuff, and the price hikes just happened, which I don't really agree with either, because they price hike regardless of inflation. Let's criticise those things. Let's criticise the constant DLCification of their game systems. Let's criticise the fact that half the rules are fucking badly written or need to be FAQ'd within a day of release. Let's criticise the things that, when fixed, will improve the hobby. I don't think criticising a company for prototyping their 3D printed the printed models in 3D printing is really much of a muchness. It's just a bit of it's a circle jerk. Maybe I should leave off and let us all circle jerk, because it lets us get some steam off, doesn't it? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Am I being too kind to oppressive corporate overlords Games Workshop? Or do you think, actually, you know what? This is it's such a medium fucking take. It's not even a hot take. But is this the take that you enjoy? Should we just shut the fuck up about them 3D printing their prototypes and bemoan the other stuff? Like Dante not getting a Primaris-ified model in 9th, the fuckers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.